We're starting today Perek Ches. And just as a reminder, we had a Milchemes Ho'ai the first. Last week, we spoke about the Milcheme, which was a Duchfal, was not Matzliach. And that was due to the Me'ila of Ochon in the Cherem. Kadosh Baruch Hu punished them by losing the first Milchama with the Oi. Now that they did what they have done with the Anshe, whoever was Moel in the Cherem, so Kadosh Baruch Hu is telling them to go for a second time for Milchemes So'ai, Hashniya, the second Milchemes So'ai. That's what this parak is all about. Okay, so I would like to read a few psukim in Perek Ches Pasuk Aleph and start reading through the Milchama. It's very important. Please look inside. Vayomer Hashem el Yeshua al tiro ve'al teichos kach imcho eskol ha'om ha'milchama v'kum alei ha'oi re'ei nosati biyotcho es melech ha'ai ve'es amoy ve'es iroi ve'es aratzoi ve'osiso la'ai u'lemalko kasher osiso li'yericho u'lemalko רק שלולו ובהמתו תבויזו לכם, שים לך אוירב לעיר מאחוריה. There's few instructions here. Gleich in Omfang. Number one, we are going to make a milchama. It says, Kasher osiso liyericho elamalka. If you remember, there was a whole masu, matan, machlikas, the Bavli and the Yerushalmi. There's machlikas, Bavli and the Yerushalmi. No sound? I'm gonna try to go in again. I don't understand why. 1 second. Just a second. Is anybody here now? I just want to know. We have that mute all. Do they hear me now? They hear me now? Just 1 second. I want to take. Am I heard by people on Zoom? What? Just a second, let me go in again. Just a second. Going again. Zoom. Sorry. The people here, whoever is on Zoom, somebody make a you are being heard all along. Oh, I'm sorry. So okay, so it says Kasher Asiso Yericho Lamalcha, the same Milchama you held with Yericho, you're going to do here. We're going to see these basic fundamental nafkaminas between Milchemes Yericho and Milchemes So'ai. Just to give you a little picture, Yericho is in the southeast, and we are traveling from Yericho. We're going northwest. The eye we find in Heintige Parasha Avrom Avinu. We found the eye. The eye is in a direct line, approximately 25 kilometers northwest of Yericho. And Beiskel, which is Beiskel, is right on top of the eye. If I take a diagonal line going from Yericho, where Yeshua and Klal Yisrael are, and they're traveling from east to west going north, and the first city they're going to eat is the eye, the second city they're going to eat will be Beiskel. Beiskel miyam ve'ohai mikedem. Beiskel is miyam, it's more towards Meirev Zayt, The eye mikedem, and the eye is more east. It's basically southeast towards Yericho. So he's going to capture Yericho. He tells him, you remember there was Machlekes Bavli Yerushalmi, if Yeshua was Machrim Yericho, was Midas, also Midas Atzmo, he was Nitztave on it. Kibush tells him, for clarity's sake, Rak Shlolu Be'em Totovoizu Lochem. There's no cherem, we're not confiscating anything. There is a deen of Shlolu Be'em Totovoizu. Sim Lecha Oirev Lo Ir Ma'achareya. We're going to do an ambush. We're going to go with a tactic, with a new trick of how to capture the eye. Was see this? Vayochem Yeshuv Kol Am Milchama LaAla Yisrael. Vayivchol Yeshua 30,000 ish giboyre achayil. Vayish lechem laila. Vayetzav Yisom le'emoy. Re'u atem oivim lo ir me'achor ha'ir. Al tarchiku min ha'ir me'oid. Vayisem kulchem nechoinim. V'ani v'kol ha'om asher iti nikra v'lo ir v'hoyo. Ki yetz'u likroseinu kasher borishoino. V'nasnu lifneim. V'yotzu achareinu had hatikeinu oiso min ha'ir. כי יאמרו נוסים לפנינו כאשר בראשינו ונוסים לפניהם. ואתם תקומו מהעיר והרשתם מסויר, ונשאנו השם אלוהיכם בידיכם. ואויו כסוף שכם מסויר, תציסו הסויר באש כדבר השם תעשו, ראו ציוויסי אסתר. ויש לכם ישוע וילכו למערב, וישו בין בית אל ובין נועי מים לועי, ויולן ישוע בלילה ובסויך העום, וישכם ישוע בבוקר ויפקו את הסעום ויעלו וזקני ישראל לפני העום האוי וכל העום המלחום אשר איתו עולו ויקשו ויבואו כנגד העיר ויחנו מצפון לועי והגיא בינו ובינועי ויקש כ15,000 איש ויוסם אויסם עורב בין בישראל ובין נועי מים לועי וישימו העומס כל המחנה אשר בצפון לעיר ויסכמו מים לעיר וילך ישוע בלילה ובסויך העמק ויקי רויס מלך ההי, וימרו וישכימו ויצאו אנשי העיר לקראת ישראל למלחמה, הוא וכל עמוי למויד לפני הערובה, ולא יודו כי עורב לא יהיו מאחורי העיר. וינוגעו יהושע וכל ישראל לפניהם, וינוסו דרך המדבר, ויזועקו כל העם אשר בואי, לרדוף אחריהם, וירדפו אחרי יהושע, וינוסקו מן העיר. ולא נשאר איש בואי ובישראל אשר יוצאו אחרי ישראל, ויעזבו העיר פסוחו, וירדפו אחרי ישראל. ויאמר השם אל ישוע נטה בקידוין אשר ביודך אלוהי כי ביודך אסננו ויית ישוע בקידוין אשר ביודו אלוהיר והעורב קם מהירו ממקומו וירוצה כנתויס יודוי ויבוא העיר וילכדוה וימרו ויציסו אס העיר באש ויפנו אשר העי אחריהם ויראו והנה עולו אושון העיר אשר מימו ולא יויו בהם יודעים לונוס הינו והינו והעום הנס המדבר נהפך אל הרדף וישוע וכל ישראל ראו כי לא קרא העיר וסעיר וכאול לאושון העיר וישובו ויכו את אנשי יועי ואלה יוצאו מן העיר לקרוסם ויהי ישראל בתווך אלו מזה ואלו מזה ויכו איסם עד איש בלתי איש שלא יסורידו פולוד ומלך תופסו חי ויקריבו לישוע ויהי כחלויס ישראל להרג את כל יש ואי באשר דופם ויפלו כולם לפני חרב התומה. We'll stop here. So what's happening? Actually, the Meforshei HaTanakh are a bit, the language here is a bit somewhat ambiguous. So in Medrash Rabbo Shir HaShirim state that the tzova of Yeshua, the count of the tzova was 60,000 people. 30,000, he said like this, I'm going to go north of the city, because that's where I'm coming from, and I'm going to position the Machane Yisrael, which included 30,000 soldiers, and the entire Machane Yisrael, which are not Yotzei Tzova. He tells him, you go behind the city, you go to the west side of the city, between the Oy and Beis El, and you park yourself silently, of which 5,000 people were on the forefront line, 25,000 people, because we find the number 5,000 here, were a backup. He says, this is what I'm going to do. We are going to start making some military movements in the north of the city, and we're going to start moving some forces, so the Melech HaAy and the Tzava and the army of the Ay is going to see that we are going to engage them from the north. They're going to start going after us. as soon as they're going to start going after us, we're going to turn around the whole Machane Yisrael, and we're going to run into the desert, as if we're petrified from them. They're going to kill us. And we're going to take them at the distance long enough that they cannot return to the eye before the people who are sitting in the ambush on the west side are occupying the city. This is given the patent. This was the Ma'arocha that Yeshua was leading. He says, once they're all out, and they're far enough from the eye that they cannot come back, Yeshua is going to lift up his kidoin, that he's making the moifsim with his kidoin, even though it's not a milchama. We'll see in a minute the Radak and the Mitzudis and the Ralbag, that this is really a milchama, because Milchemes Yericho is really a milchama. They didn't do anything. Mit genum napol shefres, mit apol chatzeitzres, they went around the city, and gendig, no fluchoy mesericho. Here, they're using regular military tactics in order to, if you take a look at their Ralbag, and I think you have in the first Mara Michoel, take a look at the Ralbag. Steht in Ralbag, betachbulois am im anshe oai lefi shekvar oyo efshol lachrim beze oifen bezulas asiyas moifes acher ki im yaskimu lotzas meir lirdef acher lebnei Yisrael lefi shebepam harishon nitzchum ve'ine Hashem yizborach lo yaseh moifes shalei letzerich. Baruch is saying from now on the Milchemes are not going to be Rebbe She Milchemes with Moifsim, but it's going to be a Milchama, a regular Milchama. Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu is not doing a Moifes Shalei L'Tzorech. Furthermore, look at Mitzvahs David. Tzivo la'asos kol ha'achones v'atachbulos ha'elu la'atos ha'akum u'mazolos leman yachshu shekol nitzchoinom u'ba'avur roi v'aom v'atachbulos v'lo yad Hashem oso v'al ze ya'osfu kulam yachad liyos im gam heimo Am Rav Lahamtik Eitzem Etachbulus Berev Yoyatzim Ubazei Yetevel Yisrael Ki Az Yaku Kulam Yaku Ke'echom Bilit Storich Loich Meir Leir Lahakisbom. It's not only the Kodesh Baruch Hu, the people who are sitting, the army people are going to see, listen, this is a real military, so let's get all together and we're going to be able to. So, Lemaise, it's not exactly like Milchemes Yericho, which is all a Milchama al Pi Shamayim, which is all a Milchama Nisis. This is a Milchama Tivis, for whatever reason. And I would like to focus today on this Milchama, and this is the topic of today's shiur, this Milchama of Kibush Ho'ai, which is really the first Milchama of Kibush Eretz Yisrael B'derech HaTeva. Because till now, the Milchama was the Kohanim, the Yisach HaTzeitzes, going around, and now we're starting a real war. So this Milchama is called Milchemes Kibush Eretz Yisrael, and I would like to learn of the sugya of Milchemes Kibush Eretz Yisrael today, in as much that reality will enable us in the short time we have. In Parsha Shoftim, in Sefer Dvorim, it says that when you yotze l'Milchama, there are four different kind of people when you go to Milchemes Mitzvah that are potur from going to the Milchama. Shel bona bayis v'lo ychanochoi, no tokerem v'lo yichileloi, eras isha v'lo ylekocho, and aisha yorov v'rach aleivov. All those four people, please make a U-turn and do not join the war. Steht in the Mishnah in Seit. Look at the Mishnah in Seit. V'dibru ha-sheitrim elohom, מאיש אשר ארס אישו, אחד המארס עשה בסולו, ואחד המארס עשה אלמון, אפילו שמרס יובום, אפילו שומע שמייסוכי במלחמה חויזרו באלו כל אלו ואלו, שמים דריברי כהן מערך המלחמה, וחויזרו מספקים מים ומונו מסכנו סדרוכם. These people are not totally exempt from the army, but they are going to go and supply water and pave the roads for the Anshe HaMilchama. Zog the Gemara. This halacha, that there are people who are exempt from going to Milchama, is only Milchemes Rishus. Ava Milchemes Mitzvah kol yoitzim, afilu choson mechedroi vekalo mechuposo. If it's Milchemes Mitzvah, everybody goes out. Afilu choson mechedroi means to say they're sitting under the chuppah. The choson sits in the yichud room and the kalo mechuposo, shaila in the rishonim, fa'al mechuppah, mit mechuppah, nach mechuppah, bekalo mechuposo, you have to go out. Omar Rav Yude, b'ameh dvorim amurim, במלחמס מצווה, אבל במלחמס חויבו, Hakol yoitzim afilu choson mechedra v'kalo mechuposo. Rabbi Yehuda changes the word, not Milchemes. In the first man, the Omer said, Tanakama says Milchemes mitzvah kol yoitzim. And he says, B'Milchemes choyve. Zog the Gemara, Omar Ove, Milchemes Yehoshua lichboish divra kol choyve. Milchemes beis David lerevocho divra kol reshus. Ki plige lemeute akum do leisa alayu. Mai korelei mitzvah umar korelei reshus. V'nafkamina leoisek b'mitzvah shepotem min ha-mitzvah. Zog Rashi, Milchemes Yehoshua lichboish בהליקו למען דקורי רשוס, דאפילו חויבר נמי איסה, ואויסק בו פוטר מן המצווה, ורבונן הוא דלא יכפס לו ניקרו לא חויבו, דדיים לקויס המצווה, אצל רשוס, שהרי אין אנו צריכים אלא למצוא בו מיילו אחס ומצווה לגבי רשוס מצווי. זאת דרש מלחמס בידובת שנלחה בארם צויבה לא יסיפה על ארץ ישראל, ובשאר סיבויסיה לעלויס לוי מנחה ומס אויבד. It comes out like this. There's two sorts of Milchemes. Actually, there are three Milchemes. But the two Milchemes klappen the din for Chosel v'chedrei v'kalo v'chuposa. If it's a Milcheme for Kibush Haaretz, Milchemes Yehoshua lichboish, the heintik a Milcheme. The Milcheme that we're learning here in this parak. So divra kol choyva, and afilu Chosel v'chedrei v'kalo v'chuposa. He's telling me, me'ares isho, me'ares almone, yovom, sheveres yovom. If it's a Milchemes Kibush Haaretz, anybody that had a date for the chuppah tonight, please go out of the Yichud room and go to Chosen Mida Kala Afa Milchem. Milchemes Yehoshua, we know that Yehoshua went out for war, engaged in the war in Aram Naharaim. Aram Tzoiva was Kibush Yochid. He went to conquer Syria. It was called Kibush Yochid. That's a Milchema from Harachova. That's a Milchema from Rishus. He wanted to expand and extend the borders of Eretz Yisrael. That's called Milchemes Rishus. That everybody, there's no machlekes, not a Milchemes Yehoshua, that's called Choyva, that everybody is obligated, even Chosel v'chedrei, and not a Milchemes David, which is called Rishus, which of course, this is called Milchemes Rishus, there's no Chosel v'chedrei v'kal mechupas. All machlekes is what happens when the Tsar is coming on Yidden to capture them in Eretz Yisrael. You don't initiate the war, but you respond to a war. The question is, what kind of halacha does this situation have when you are being attacked and you're trying to protect yourself in Eretz Yisrael without being the initiator of the war? The chiluk is, steht in Ramban. What is the chiluk between Milchemes? Ramban, in a nutshell, and there's 5 Rambans, the Ramban in a nutshell says as follows. The any Milchome is for the existence of the very being of Klal Yisrael. It's called Milchemes Chayve, Milchemes Mitzvah, and everybody is obligated to do so. Any Milchome that is a mile of extending Eretz Yisrael, but it's not the core existence. The Ramban says, "V'loi b'shul hakiyum shel bnei Yisrael b'be'eretz Yisrael." That is Milchemes Rishus, and there is no Chosen Mechedra. I would like to focus on a few nekudas, because this issue of Kalom Chosel Mechedra v'Kalom Mechupasa was an issue which rocked Eretz Yisrael when they came in after the Milchemes Ha'atzmos, after the independent war, and the Shiloh was, went to the Chazanish. Shiloh was the whole Gzeir of Giyus Banas, as known. Biskarov did not want to sign the letter that Yehoshua V'Alyava Giyus Banas. And the Shiloh is how to view, the Ganze Shiloh, how to view the Milchama of, if there was a Milchama Tzara Bo Aleim, if it's called Milchemes Mitzvah, not Milchemes Mitzvah. But I would like first to focus, and before we going into the Ein Tiketeg, let's focus on the Iker Advorim, beyachas to this halacha for Chosel Mechedra v'Kalom Mechupasa in Milchemes Yehoshua in the eye. Take a look at the Ramban. There's a pasuk says in Sefer Bamidbar. Okay, we always talk about the Gvulos of Eretz Yisrael. Shteit v'hoirashtem es haaretz v'yishaftem bo ki lochem nosati es haaretz loresh es oiso. So Rashi, what does it mean v'hoirashtem es haaretz? V'hoirashtem oiso miyoshvei. Hoirashtem means you vacate it, you make it empty. Miyoshvei, you eradicate the people who are sitting in Eretz Yisrael and kill them. Ve'oz v'yeshavtem bo tuchel liskayim bo. V'imlav leisuch liskayim bo. If you want to have a peace of mind, and you want to dwell and live in Eretz Yisrael, the way to do it is v'yirashtem oiso v'yeshavtem bo. Rashi doesn't learn the v'yeshavtem bo, there's a mitzvah of yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael. Rashi is learning v'yirashtem oiso, go ahead and kill them all, because you know what? If you're going to go in there and they're still going to be there, the residual of the Knain of the Zayin Amamim, you're not going to be able to live in Eretz Yisrael. Comes again the Ramban. Look in reference number 7. Al daiti zu mitzvah saseh yitzav oisem sheyeshu ba'oretz veyirshu oiso ki unesono lohem velo yimasu benachal as Hashem. Ve'ilu yala al daitom lo leches velich bo ish eretz shino lo eretz ashur vezulosom velis yashev shom yavru al mitzvah Hashem. So the Ramban, the mitzvahs esem in Torah to go ahead and conquer and live and dwell in Eretz Yisrael. And if you are interested in replacing it with Uganda, with Shinar, with Ashur, so the Ramban, you over and mitzvah Hashem. Umashifliku Rabbi Seinu, the whole Sugyas HaGemorah, the end of Ksubas, b'mitzvah HaYishiv b'Eretz Yisrael, l'shosu lotzes b'meno, v'yodunu kemoiredes ha'isha she'inu roitzeh la'alei simbailo. Isha, a woman doesn't want to go. Hu roitzeh leilach, v'yeinu roitzeh leilach, she's a yotzes b'lei Ksubas, she's a meredes. Zog der Ramban וכן או איש, בכאן הצטווינו במצווה הזו, כי הכוסף הזה היא מצווה ססה, ויחזיר המצווה במקומות רבים. בואו שהוא סורץ, אבל רש"י פירש, ורש"י בסורץ, ורש"י מויסם וישבו, עוז וישבתם תוכלו עסקיים בו, ואם לא, ומה שפירשנו העיקר. Zog der Ramban לך תיקתו. Rashi is saying it's a practical asset, vacated in order to have a user-friendly industrial peace to dwell if you want and you wish to live in Eretz Yisrael. So the Ramban nish richtig. Is the mitzvah's essay to be moyer Eretz Yisrael and to live there. The Rambam is not moyer the mitzvah of Kibush Haaretz. The Rambam is not moyer the mitzvah of Yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael. Comes again the Ramban in Sefer HaMitzvahs. And the Ramban adds on a mitzvah sheshochach HaRambam. Mitzvah's essay dalet. Please look at number 8. So the Ramban is 8. Mitzvah revis sheshochach HaRambam. שנצטווינו לו רשס הסעורת אשר נוסה נקל לסבור ויסע לבסנו אברהם יצחק וליעקב ולא ינעז ביד זולוסינו מן האומוס אוי לשמומו והוא אמור אלוהם וירשתם מסעורץ וישבתם בו כי לכם נוסעתי סעורץ לו רשס איסו והסנחלתם מסעורץ אשר נשבע השם לאביסיכם ופרט להם במצווה זו כולו בגבולוסהו מיצרו כמו שרים ורבו ער המעורב וכל שכינו בערוב ובהור בשפל ובנגב בחוף הים והראיה שזו מצווה So the Ramban, I'll bring you right that this is a mitzvah. שהמורה יסעלה בעניין המרגלים עלי ריש, כאשר דיבר השם אלוקיך אל תיראו ואל תחוס. ואומר אוידו בשלוח השם אסכם מקודש בניהו על אורשו סורץ. וכאשר לא יאהבו במיימר, כוסו ותמרו פי השם ולא האמנתם ולא השמעתם בקולו. הוירו שהויסו מצווה ולא ייעוד והבטחה. It's not a promise, it's not a target, it's not a yad, זוג the Ramban, זה המצווה ססי. זוג der Ramban, וזו איש החכום עם קוירין, או איסו מלחמס מצווה. וכך אומר בגמור וסייטו, אומר רב יהודה, מלחמס ישוע, לכבו איש דברי הכל חייבו. מלחמס דוד להרחוב דברי הכל רשוס, ולא שן ספרי, וירשתו וישבתו בו בזכות שתירש תשב. ואל תשתבש, זוג der Ramban, don't make a mistake. ותאמר כי המצווה הזו היא המצווה במלחמס זין אומס, שנצטבו לעבדו, שנאמר רחם תחרימם. Maybe it doesn't mean that. When it says Ve'irashtem, it just means it's a mitzvah to kill the Zayin Amamim. So the Ramban ein adover ken. She'anu nitztavenu la'algo b'ilachem roisam. V'im rotzu la'hashlim, na'hashlim imo. If you remember, Yeshua sent 3 different delegations. If you want to make peace, I'll make peace with you. V'naz v'betnoim yeduim, we can do peace, we can negotiate a diplomatic relationship with the Zayin Amamim. Aval ha'oretz, lo yinaniach oise b'yodom v'lo b'yad zulosam in la'umes b'dorim in aderes. Never ever leave Eretz Yisrael in the hand of any one of the Umois. וכן אם בורחו האומס ההם מפנינו, ואורחו כמאמורם, הגרגושי פונה ואורלך לא, Yerushalmi says, the Girgoshi went to Africa, right? ונוסם להם ארץ טובה כארצום זו אפריקה, נצטווינו אונו לא ובאורץ ולכבוש המדינוס לא אישי בו שבטנו. וכן אחרי הכניסנו What if you want to leave Eretz Yisrael thereafter? שנצטווינו וממאמרו מלחמס ישוע לכבוש טובין כי המצווה הזו היא הקיבוש. So this is the Shittas Rambam. Kommt sich hinter Megillas Esther. Megillas Esther, kiemat the ganze Sefer Megillas Esther was mischaber for this mitzvah. 3 mitzvahs that he's, the ganze Megillas Esther, anybody knows, was a Kadmoin that wrote a Pirush to Fa'emfer, the Rambam from the Ramban Zasogis. Nirali ki mashelim mono Horav. Why did the Rambam count it? ופשמיצה סירושה סורץ וישיבוסו לא ינוהג רק בימי מוישה ישוע ודוד וכל זמן שלגול ישראל מארצם אבל אחר שגולו מעל אדמוסם הם מצווה זו נוהגת לדוירוס עד בוי משיח כי עד הרבה נצטווינו לפי מה שאומרו בסעיף כסובס שלנימו באומרס ללכת ליך בשעורץ בחוזקו ויכחו מהפוסק השבעתי אסכם בנויס ירושלים ודור שבו שלייה לישראל בחיימו מה שאומר הרמב"ן שהחכמים אומרו כי קיבוש האורץ מלחמס מצווה, זה כאשר לא נהיה משובודים. ומה שאומר שהחכמים הפליג בשבח האורץ, זה דווקא בזמן שבית המקדש קיים. אבל עכשיו אין מצווה לא בו לכך נאמר שבוודאי מצווה זו אין הנוהגת אחר חורבן הבית שיבונה במהרה בימינו. Sounds like ויואל מוישה. זוג דר רמב"ן, זוג דר Megillas Esther, the reason why the Rambam doesn't count it, because the mitzvah was only Milchemes Yeshua for Kibush Haaretz, and it lasted until the Churban Beis HaMikdash. Once it's Churban Beis HaMikdash, there's no longer mitzvah b'zman hazeh to live in Eretz Yisrael. You know, the Peas HaShulchan, which is the B'Sol Shklover, which brings normally the Goyen's Deya, the opinion in how to decide to pass on the Shaila, he says, Omnam yesh mitzvah liyashev es haaretz gam acharei sheyotzu legolus, u'mitzvah zui derabonon u'lekach lemeno haramba minyan mitzvah shitas hagoyen, but b'zman hazeh there is a mitzvah yishuv haaretz, but not a mitzvah midaraisa, but a mitzvah midarabon. So we have over here a shaila of this mitzvah of Kibush Haaretz, machlekes harishonim, a famous machlekes the Rama and the Ramban, that if the mitzvah is, now the question is, you know, chosam mechedu v'kalo mechuposam. A woman is to go out to the milcham. Anybody that learned, even the Mesifta boys in Lakewood, that happened to learn 2.5 blot the whole winter's man, learned the Gemara in Kibush in the beginning, state darko shel ish lasas milchamo ve'ein darko shel ish lasas milchamo. So was ist Kala Mechupasa? Was war Kala? Was bringt man nach ein Freund da zu der Krieg? So take a look. I just bring a couple of what's the Tiferes Yisrael and the Mishnah in Soita says, you should know this where the Kala goes out in Isha, Lavas Milchom, L'sapek Mozel L'sakin Adrochim Yoitzes. The Rashash, Afanort in Soita says, Mashma de Gam Noshim Yoitzes L'mchom V'chidishu, V'uloi en Yoitzes אלא לבשל ולאפויס כדוימה לצורך הגבורים אנשי המלחמה. They're going, you gotta have chayil, which supplies the food, the kosher food for the army. So to bake and to this, that's what they go to Milchama. But they don't go Ishal Abbas Milchama. The Radvaz, look at this Radvaz, Afan Rambam, kosher v'chiderech hanoshim lasas Milchama v'aksiv kol kvoida basmel pnimo, V'shloim adochi koma, t'kiven d'chosen yoytze mechedroi, kala yoytze mechupasa, she'ein eges yemei chuppe. Apostel sagt, the chosen sind laufen. Nicht kala yoytze mechupasa, the woman is coming to conquer Eretz Yisrael to participate in the war. Also nicht stock in chosen, nicht stock in kala. Ve'efsher, the b'milchemes mitzvah, wackelt, sagt der Advaz, hoyo anoshim mesapik yismayim u'mozel ba'aleyen, they used to go for the husband, the Arabic lender, the women go after the husband in the war, they follow them, and they bring him every day a hot lunch to the battlefield, as a state in Radvas. You know, Sido Eine for the Kadmoinim, it's a Gishrim Pirush called Hoin Oshir and Mishnayos. He has a Pirush Dikduke Aniyas, and he has a Pirush is called Hoin Oshir. The Hoin Oshir, Afsaita, look, I just brought it because I was fascinated. Mikan nire she afa la isha mut l'chiyuv ze ve'ein sofek שאין זה אלו לעשות כמו שעושו האישו לאבימלך, או כסרח בס אושר לשבע בן ביכרי, או כיהודיס לאליף פרנו. There's three stories. He says, if you learn Vaita Sefer Sheftim, Avimelech was one of the Sheftim. And he made a siege on one of the cities, and he went on top, the people were in the Migdal, and he was in the tower, and some woman, a sophisticated woman, went on top of the Migdal, and she took a huge stone, and she threw it at Avimelech, she killed him. And then he told somebody, please stab me with a knife, Zol mir nicht sagen, that Avimelech, the Shefer, the Grace Matzbi, the Grace Manig, was killed by a woman. This one woman. Sheva ben Bichri, everybody knows the story of Sheva ben Bichri. Sheva ben Bichri was one of the people who was married against David HaMelech. He ran away to Ovel Bet Maacha. He went to a place and he hid there. And they closed around the whole city. And Yoav ben Tzruya, who was a Sartzova from David, came and he said, give us Sheva ben Bichri. If you don't give us Sheva ben Bichri, we're going to kill the whole city. Anybody that learns every time the Sugif and Roidef, you learn the Sugif of Sheva ben Bichri, Yichadu Echad. There was a woman, Achachemes, who made a Masul Matan. She said everybody's going to get killed. Who was that woman? She was Serach Bas Osher. It was Mayich Yomim. She was the one, Bischar, she said with Yankiv there. She was Baitzias Mitzrayim. We'll find her later in the story of Sheva ben Bichri. And Yehudis and Alefano, the story of Antiochus, where she was Matzliach to bring him B'chochmasa and basically chop off his head. And this was a turning point in the war. Zog doin Oshir. When a woman is mechuyev in milchama, if you have a psatichtik woman that has tachsise tachbulus milchama, and she can come in and clinch it by going in and making some sophisticated tachbulos, that's what it means, isha. He said, "Avaloishet ischayev la'atzes la'amod b'kishrei milchama b'klizayin k'mo hanoshim, ve'av yodas be'atzma shichol la'amod k'neged nire be'einai sheloi hoyu manichim oiso lotzes, the soif isha daita kalo, v'liba mehasas bedovel kal, v'shem atas chilonus v'tchilas nefilo niso." She is a mensch afroi, is a leichte person, and she's going to chicken out, she's going to run away. As soon as she's going to run away, you're going to lose the battle. So you're not allowed to send women to the war. Which woman we do find? A Bazundere Chachemes, which is B'kiyeh Tachsisei Milchama. The problem is that how does a woman go to Milchama? You know, they say, the old Vakeltzach, all the Sedar Mishnah in Nozir. Steht die Mishnah in Nozir. Ablezer ben Yankev Oimer. Do Nozir daf nuntes. Minayin shelei teitze isha b'klizayin lamilchoma, Talmud loim lo yiyeh kli gever al isha. So you can't even go with klizayin lamilchoma. How does a woman go out to milchoma? Right? Zog the Meforish in Nozir. V'zeh shematzinu b'yoel eishes chever hakeni shelei aragosa l'sisra b'klizayin ela kemo shenema yodo layoset ishlachno. The story with Sisra that came running into the tent of Yoel Eishes Chever Hakeni, she didn't kill him with a klizayim because of the Yisra Deraisa for the Yilbash. So she took a Yosed, she took the Moit, and she killed him with the Yosed Berakosri and his temporal lobe. Zog the Rab Kveger Dorten Kilin Hashas. Ken Motzino Beyalkut B'Shoiftim Yodor Lo Yosed Tishlachnu Zeh Shomer HaKosov Yodor Shilcho Bakishoyer the Yoel shel Aragosa b'klizayin leByosed, Tichsiv Yosed Yodo laYosed Tishlachno, u'mipnei ma lo Aragosa b'klizayin lekayim hashenema lo yekli gever alisha. Okay, I just want to end off the Sefer HaChinuch brings down there's four different mitzvahs, and the mitzvahs is in the Isur from Pachad lo lefachad al tiro ve'al techos mi'ovim b'milchama. Steht in Sefer HaChinuch, Noeg mitzvah zu b'schorim, ki lohem li'ilochem. In the mitzvah von Minui Meshikoy Mashiach LaMilchama, sagt the mitzvah of Kriya Sholem, says, V'noeg mitzvah zu b'schorim she'em aruim LaMilchama. By Mechias HaMolech, B'schiras HaMolech, V'noeg b'kol moke b'kol zman b'schorim, ki lohem l'asas HaMilchama. V'nikmas oev v'loy l'noshi. Kommt Seged Milchas Chinuch. He says, I don't understand. Steht doch klar, afilu chosen mechedre v'kala mechupasa. Tzorich hier. All these mitzvahs, Milchemes mitzvah, the chinuch says, noeg b'schol v'lekev. Agav, I want to tell you, Rav Ovadia Yosef Zichroino Livracha is moiru both for women not to come to listen to Parsha Zohar. Because he says, since the mitzvah is mitzvah mechias amol milchemes amolek, and noshim is not bichlal milchom is noeg b'schol not milchemes, אין להם מה לחפש בפרשת זכור. שלא, שתשב בבית, לא תבוא לשמוע פרשת זכור. But there's a shtickle Torah, just to wrap it up. The Marcheshes is a nice shtickle Torah, and he says, look at the Marcheshes. זה ברור שהאנושים אינו בנויס מלחומה, ופטורס מכל המצווס, הנויגס למלחומה. ומה שמבוא במשנה בסויטה שיועץ ואפילו קל מחופוסו, נאמר רק לגבי מלחמת ישוע של קיבוש האורץ. שמה יוציאו מיוחד גם על אנושים להילוחם, אבל בדרך כלל אין חיובס להילוחם, והטעם, כי במלחמת ישוע נאמרו שני מצווס נפרודס. מצווס הריגס דיין אמה מן מלחמת פסוק, כי הכם תחרימם, החיתי והאמורי הקדייני והפריזי, שבוהם נצטבו לאחים להרג אויסי ועמומים, או מצווה נוספת של קיבוש וייבוש האורץ, הנלמדס מהקרוב והרשתם את האורץ וישבתם בו. בנוגע למצווה אחים תחרים פשיטי דנושים פטורס, ככל מצווה של הזמן גרום לנושים פטורס. But, and therefore Yisha is potter for Milchemes Kibush Haaretz and Milchemes Amolek, Milchemes Yeshua she is potter. Als the mitzvah from Achrin Tachrimim of killing the old Zion Amomim. Avo, in the mitzvah, Kibush Milchemes Yeshua, or Yogam mitzvah shel Kibush Haaretz, Shu mitzvah Tmidis, Gam Noshim Chayovis. That's what it's called, Milchemes Yeshua Lichboish Livra Kol Chayva. In other words, we're not talking about killing. Bottom line, we have a Milchama here. The Milchama that we have is a Milchemes Kibush Haaretz. Milchemes Kibush Haaretz is a Milchemes Mitzvah. And Kulam Alei Plige Sheyoytz Mafilu Chosen Mechedro Kal Mechupas. The kasha is there a Milchama Kibush Haaretz? Is there a mitzvah or not? Shita Sarambam Vaistoisas Bazman Azeh Al Kaponim after Yeshua captured the Eretz Yisrael. Marka the Isla. If we're going to adopt the Megillas Esther, it was only something which was noig bisman Kibush Haaretz throughout Yeshua David, Beis Hamikdash till they went to Golos. Thereafter, Shitas Rambam, there is no mitzvah Kibush, no mitzvah Yeshiva. The Ramban said there is a mitzvah Yeshiva Eretz Yisrael from the beginning, from the Zman of Yeshua, ad etzem hayoyim hazeh. Kibush, when you have to eradicate the people who are sitting there, Yeshiva, there is a mitzvah Yeshiva Haaretz, and all the mitzvahs, all the sugyas like more the shvacha Eretz Yisrael, because there's a mitzvah Yeshua Eretz Yisrael which is not till Osman Hazeh. The Goyen Vaistois, that even according to the Ram, it's a mitzvah, but it's not a mitzvah d'oraisa, it's a mitzvah d'rabbanan. This shtickle of Chosen Mechedra v'Kala Mechuposa is somewhat controversial, because the Isha doesn't go out to Milchama. Noshim is lav de Milchamas Nino. So Pashtas it means for a backup support as a woman. Or it means, according to the Marcheshes, by Milchemes Yeshua, not for the Achem Tachrimim, but for the mitzvah of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael.